talking with Tom.
One of these days I'm going to do a new opening.
Just talking with Tom. Turn your dial to cable 18. You will see the best in TV. Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom. Sit back and listen. You will hear the best conversation of the year. Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom.
Welcome to Talking with Tom. I'm Tom Dacey alongside Ed McCarver. We had so much fun with Eric the last time that we had to invite him back.
Yeah. The last half hour just flew right by, so we demand another half hour, and the powers of be gave it to us.
We got it. You know, Eric, on the last show we were talking about some of the artists that you had the pleasure of working with. I understand that you played at the Oakdale Theater and had the opportunity to open for the Steve Miller Band.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Playing at the Oakdale Theater was awesome. It was actually the anniversary of my wedding, so my wife got to sit out in like the 11th row with my mom, and I got to sing her a love song from the stage of the Oakdale. But it was surprising. Basically, you would think I'd be nervous or whatever, but it just felt like that's where I belonged. Like everything that day was just great.
Now, you are originally from Cheshire. Again, in doing research, looking at your bio. So, you know, we're local too, and of course the Oakdale Theater is like the Taj Mahal of the area. It's never mind Carnegie Hall. I want to make it to Oakdale.
Well, the Oakdale's a good first start.
But the Oakdale Theater, where we talked about in our last show, we talked about B.B. King, who I remember seeing at the Oakdale, the old theater in the Round, back in the '60s, going to those concerts. But to actually go on that stage, it must have been a nice feeling.
It was awesome, and I basically I was just playing acoustic guitar, just me, an acoustic guitar, and a vocal mic, and I rented a wireless microphone and a wireless guitar rig because, you know, I know when you're on a big stage like that, if you just stood still, it doesn't seem too exciting, and I just wanted to be able to walk back and forth and engage people in the audience, and it was great. I mean, I had the entire Oakdale singing "You Can't Always Get What You Want."
Really?
Yeah. So, and that was pretty ripping, and played a few of my songs, and they dug those, and it was just it was a great experience.
And you were opening for, was it Steve Miller?
It was Steve Miller Band,
Nice.
Last June 20th, the 21st was my anniversary, and so it was pretty exciting.
Wow.
It's funny because I was supposed to play a friend's wedding in Pennsylvania, and I got a phone call asking me if I wanted to do the Oakdale, and I was like, oh, so what date? And they said the 20th. I'm like, no, that's the only date. I can't do it.
Oh no.
And after after freaking out for a while, I was like trying to figure out if there's any way I could play the wedding and rent a plane and fly back, and I was going to fly into the little Meriden Airport and drive over there. And I think I figured out that if everything worked flawlessly, I'd get there 5 minutes before showtime. But they wanted me at the Oakdale at like 4:30 in the afternoon for a sound check. So,
and they did specify that it was the Oakdale Theater as opposed to
they did specify it was the Oakdale
Pizza
Theater
or something like that.
Right.
So,
And it would have been basically I was prepared to not do it, and the bride heard about it, and she's like, Eric, you can do a private concert for us in the summertime, but you got to do that show. So thank you to
good for her.
Yeah, thank you to her for allowing me to do it. But
that's great.
It was a nice experience being on that.
Yeah, it was
a legendary stage.
Yeah, I mean the new stage is awesome. It's big, the room's great, and playing for 5,000 people, and it's some of my brothers and sisters actually had tickets to the show already, so they didn't know I was opening up. I mean, they knew by the time it happened.
Yeah.
But they bought tickets not knowing I was opening up. And then,
that must have been a thrill.
So and then I had my niece. I arranged for my niece to pick up my mom and drive her to the show, so she got free tickets. And when she was a little kid, I used to play "You Can't Always Get What You Want" and get all the nieces and nephews to sing it. So when I had the whole Oakdale singing it, she told me she had tears in her eyes.
Oh,
what a story!
Nice.
Yeah, I'm hoping to do it again soon. I've been in touch with the Oakdale, and they assure me that if the opportunity comes up, they'll consider me again. So
Jim Koplick is it?
Yeah.
Yep. Jim Koplick, great guy.
Okay. Well, we saw you brought. I know it's not Lucille, but whatever your guitar's name is.
Yeah.
Do you have a song for us?
Sure. Yeah, we were talking about the new record, and I told you that I'd written a piece of music that I had a melody for. You'd asked, what was easier, lyrics or the melody. In most cases, they come to me at the same time, and the song is just done. But in this instance, I had a catchy melody, and I knew that it could have great words, and I wanted to write something that was kind of Bob Dylan-esque. So I think I actually accomplished it. And on the record, we have, piano and mandolin and organ and tambourine, and I'm going to do my acoustic version of it right now. So this is the song we played on Connecticut Style a few weeks ago.
All right, Eric Herbst.
Silver sands in my hands, got silver sands. Silver sands in my hands, got silver sands. Try to find a way to love someone today, 'cause they say that tomorrow never comes. So find someone who's near and whisper in their ear, 'cause there's nothing to fear about love. Silver sands in my hands, got silver sands. Silver sands in my hands, got silver sands. You can fly from tree to tree, it doesn't matter much to me. You'll be where you're meant to be in the end. You might have to take a fall to feel anything at all. I just hope that you land on silver sands. Silver sands in my hands, got silver sands. Silver sands in my hands, got silver sands. Hey, the world is upside down, we've got to turn this thing around, or the birds will make a sound on Charles Island. For the seas are set to rise, there's a sunset in our eyes. It won't come as a surprise to those who cry. Silver sands in my hands, got silver sands. Silver sands in my hands, got silver sands. Do-do-do-do-do, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Do-do-do-do-do, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. If you want to be free, open your mind and follow me, 'cause there are things you need to see and understand. Yes, I'm a dreamer's son, but I'm not the only one, and we're living in the sun on silver sands. Come on, let me out. Silver sands in my hands, got silver sands. Silver sands in my hands, got silver sands. There's always good and bad, and now the good are being had. Yes, it's really kind of sad that they don't know that it's time to be bold, time to wake the young and old, 'cause our future can't be sold on silver sands. Silver sands in my hands, got silver sands. Silver sands in my hands, got silver sands. Do-do-do-do-do, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Do-do-do-do-do, da-da-dee-dee-dee-dee, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da.
Very nice.
A little inspiration from the beach there?
Absolutely, absolutely. I live down on near Silver Sands Beach in Milford. And if you were listening carefully, there's a lyric in there that talks about Charles Island, which is the beach right off of Silver Sands.
Okay.
I moved to Milford a couple of years ago with my wife, and we love it there. There's so much going on.
Including, I know Milford is, I think in the summer they have, is it their Oyster Festival?
Yep, Milford has an Oyster Festival. It's a great 2-day party, basically, and it's funny, because of this song, I sent it to the guy who books the Milford Oyster Fest, and I'm not just playing the Oyster Fest, I'm playing it both Friday and Saturday night. So I'm playing Friday night solo at the Oyster Fest down in the beer concession area, which they're going to have all these really cool beers from around Connecticut. All of the breweries and stuff are going to be set up. And then I come back the next day and I play with the full band on Saturday afternoon.
Nice.
So,
has a date been set for that? I'm assuming sometime this summer. Or?
Yeah, it's August 19th and 20th.
20th, okay.
So it's a great public event that's open to everybody, and they'll have some really good. They have some national acts on a big stage, and some great local musicians too, I think.
Okay.
Do you recall the very first time you performed and what that felt like?
I think I do. The one that I remember the most is basically practicing. I was in like 8th grade, and my sister was in 7th grade, and the drummer was in 7th grade. And we did the 8th grade talent show, and we rehearsed for like 2 weeks. And I tell the story of basically people ask me if I get nervous when I play. And when I first started playing, I used to get nervous like as soon as the date was booked, so when this talent show happened, I was like nervous, and it was going to happen in a month. And we rehearsed for a month, and we get it all set, and we get there, and I can't remember exactly what happened, but basically my amp stopped working on like the first chord. So the rehearsal was out the window, and the song was a nightmare, and it was just totally like a tragic thing. But as far as being nervous, it's like over time I'd get less and less nervous, and it becomes more focused to the day of the event, or the week of the event, then the day of the event, and then now it's like the microsecond before I play, I get up on stage and I'll be nervous for like 1 second, and I'll go, and I'll be fine.
But it's a healthy nervous, I think. I remember I've heard.
It's a nervousness you channel into your playing, yeah. It's a nervous energy.
Musicians, and I think athletes too, if you get nervous before an event. But it's good because, in a way, it's kind of an adrenaline rush. It kind of keeps you focused.
Absolutely, yeah. If you weren't at all like nervous, you wouldn't have the energy that you need to really play passionately and win a crowd over.
Yep.
Yeah. We're talking with Eric Herbst of the band Dizzy Fish. You mentioned earlier in Milford that you're playing Friday solo and then Saturday with the band. Do you have a preference? Do you like the solo gigs, or do you like playing with your fellow musicians behind you, or you're both the same?
I do like playing solo, and I like opening for people solo, but my favorite thing really is to play with the band, because when you're playing solo, the entire show is on you. So if you're doing a 3-hour show solo, you're singing for 3 hours, you're playing the guitar for 3 hours, whereas if you're with the band and you're doing a 3-hour show, somebody else is taking a guitar solo, and that takes up a minute in a song, and if you do that over the course of the night, you're not singing there's 30 minutes that you didn't sing because there was another musician able to play a solo.
You get a chance to take a little break.
You get a little bit of a break and a breather, and as you get older, it's not that I'm old, but as you get older, happy birthday again, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, basically, as you get older, it's more and more taxing to sing for 3 hours. Basically, most concerts that you go to are an hour and a half, 2 hours, and Bruce Springsteen, of course, was famous for the 3-hour and 4-hour shows, but I don't think he does those anymore.
Yeah. Didn't the Grateful Dead do marathon shows too back?
Yeah, but they also had 20 minutes of jamming, which is what I'm saying. When you have other musicians and somebody's taking a solo that lasts for 5 minutes, it's easier to go longer than it is if you're just playing an acoustic guitar by yourself.
One question that we've asked other musicians that we've had on, I'd like to know your thoughts on this. Do you find it tough to get gigs now with the surgence of disc jockeys and karaoke?
Well, karaoke's kind of phased out a lot. Disc jockeys have killed the wedding business for bands, because if you have a disc jockey, you can have every song that you ever want. The band might not know a song that you want, but a disc jockey, if you give him a list in advance, he can put it on an iPhone and have that song, So they've really hurt wedding bands, which doesn't really affect me. Honestly, what's tough is that it's bar owners are paying less now than they were paying bands in 1970.
Is that right?
Yeah. So, and there's sort of a running formula where bar owners think that the maximum they want to pay is $100 per musician. So, and then what ends up happening is you get, like, if you're a enthusiast and you just want to play on Friday night, you don't really care how much money you make, especially if you have a good job or something. Mm-hmm. But I play with professional musicians, and they feed their families with these gigs. And so, you know, they're playing as many nights a week as they can for not that much money, and then the enthusiasts will come in and, you know, a bar owner will say, you know, how much we want to play, and it'll be $100 a man. We have a 5-piece band, so minimum we need $500. And a lot of these bar owners will say, well, I can get, you know, Joe Smith to play for $200, and yeah, you can. You know, it's not the same thing, but they, you know, and so that's really the difficulty. It's and then with this new record, I'm really excited that hopefully that'll open some doors to some bigger shows, and that's what I've been working on. Is instead of playing a lot of small shows, I've been trying to upscale the shows that we are playing.
Focus in on what you're doing.
Yeah, and I'd like to pick up a national tour opening solo for somebody. You know, my wife's a teacher. If I could do something like that in the summertime and go on the road with her, that would be great. Although we love it on the beach in Milford in the summer, but so yeah, no, it's there's a lot of competition.
It's tough for the startup bands. Do you have another song for us?
Sure, certainly.
Eric Herbst, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's see. There's okay, this is another song off of the new album. That there's on the record. There's mandolin on this, and it's some beautiful piano and organ. But again, it's a nice solo version. This song's called Building 7. Building 7 came down on that horrible day, although nothing seemed to hit, and there were no wings on the Pentagon lawn. Yeah, the engines just disintegrated. They say the engines just disintegrated. La 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 la, 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 la 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 la. Some men came along and sold us a lie, so big that the whole world believed it. Yeah, they took us to war, and some good people died. It was on CNN, did you see it? It was on CNN, did you see it? La 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 la, 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 la 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 la. Drill, baby, drill, cried the RNC, and the oil lobbyists celebrated. Yeah, they poison the air, now they poison the sea, and it's the kid smoking pot who gets busted. It's the kid smoking pot who gets busted. La 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 la, 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 la 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 la. Building 7 came down on that horrible day, although nothing seemed to hit, and there were no wings on the Pentagon lawn. Yeah, the engines just disintegrated. They say the engines just disintegrated. La 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 la, 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 la 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 la.
Nice. Bravo.
Very powerful song there.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you
How
very
long
much.
did it take you to...
That one came like that. I actually have been thinking about writing some new lyrics to it, only because what's going on in the world right now. But you know,
I heard CNN. My ears perked up.
Yeah.
I thought Wolf Blitzer might have been around or something. So.
That song might eventually have higher ratings than CNN, which isn't hard to do.
We're talking with Eric Herbst from Dizzy Fish. I want to talk a bit about social media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I'm sure I'm missing about 100 more, but how important is that for a band to get the message out or get their sound out?
Well, again, as a recording artist, it's extremely important. You know, I mean, maybe if you have a record label and you've got a huge deal and you've got teams of people who are out promoting your stuff, it's they take care of that sort of thing. But in the modern world, because of shows like American Idol, record companies flipped music on its head, and they decided that what they would do is, instead of putting out good music and hoping it gets popular, they'd find somebody popular and have them put out music. And so then the music doesn't even have to be that good as long as they're popular, because if they're popular, people will like them and people will buy their music. Now, I'm not saying that good music didn't come out of American Idol, but I'm just saying that's their model. So it's sort of like along the lines you were talking about bar owners before. A bar owner really, most times, some of them care about music. Most of them only care about how many bodies you can put in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't have Facebook and you're not telling people about your shows, you're not getting people to come to your shows, the bar owners aren't going to hire you, you know. For the record business, I've actually been to songwriting conventions and things like that where they talk about it's not enough to have 10,000 followers or 100,000 followers. 250,000 followers doesn't even impress the record companies.
Really?
Yeah. They want 500,000 to 1 million followers before they'll even take a look at you.
Wow.
And what's really unfortunate, because a lot of these music contests online too, a lot of them are really marketing campaigns disguised as contests. There'll be some company that wants to promote their product. Well, the winner, they screen through the songs, and it's not really what's the song sound like. It's, okay, well, let's narrow it down to everybody who's got tons of followers, and then we'll listen to the music. And then at that point, it's really about all those followers hearing about that company that's running the music competition, and it's just it's a marketing campaign.
You know, you mentioned American Idol, and I'm reminded of a question that we asked a musician 5-6 years ago, and I wanted your take on it. When someone goes on American Idol, it's discovered and becomes a quote-unquote overnight sensation, do musicians that have paid their dues, worked in clubs and coffee houses over the years, is there a resentment that someone can immediately go on cable and become a overnight sensation?
I would change the question a little bit. I would say, do they resentment's a strong word. I think if somebody has talent, everybody appreciates that they have talent.
Okay.
But in fairness, when you watch somebody on the internet who's 13 years old that plays pretty well, they're not great, but pretty well, and it's awesome that there's musical kids out there, musical talent trying to do this stuff, but it's also a shame that it's sort of like in this culture right now, it's all about kids. And in the Indian culture, in American Indian culture, they appreciated the wisdom of elders. Mm-hmm. And like what will happen now is somebody will come out and they'll be cute and they'll have a good voice and they'll go on American Idol and they'll sing and they have talent. They definitely have talent. But they don't have a life experience to share emotion and feelings and share their life experience with the world. And the people who are writing the songs now, there's 10, 12 different producers who are involved in writing a song. So the songs are written kind of by committee, and they're very formulaic.
Like a ghostwriter sort of?
It's all ghostwriters. And then there's things like it gets really complicated. Like I hate to sound so slanted. I'm not really negative on it, but there's there's examples on the internet where there's like some, let's say Mariah Carey song that had 10 producers on it, and she sings the same word over and over again, and then they put right next to it on the screen Bohemian Rhapsody that was written by the guys in Queen, and they had no producers except for, you know, it was Freddie Mercury basically wrote this amazing song, and now that song is magical, and it follows no musical formula whatsoever. It's just a great song on its own. And so we've lost some of the respect for the craft and the artwork that songwriters, you know, in the 60s, it started off with all the songs were being written in song factories, and then the Beatles came out and Bob Dylan came out, and then they wrote their own songs, and that brought a certain level of humanity to the music, because when somebody was singing the words, it wasn't words they were reading off a page, it was words that they wrote, that they felt, and we've lost some of that. And I think that Adele is actually doing a wonderful thing for the music business, because she brought real music back mattering. She's one of these people who's not on Facebook very much, whereas Taylor Swift is twittering constantly, or, you know, Facebook friends. And so I sort of got lost on the question, but I don't think that there's a resentment. I think that musicians and artists need to be appreciated in a society, and if you go to, like, you know, other countries, you know, musicians are honored, and a lot of times here it's like, oh, they're a dime a dozen, and, you know, what does it matter? And it's a person expressing their soul. Yeah. And if somebody's expressing their soul, that has value to me. And God bless the kids who can sing at young ages, but I want to hear somebody's life experience. When you hear Johnny Cash sing that song "Hurt," as he's basically getting older and his wife had just passed, and the emotion and the, you know, the passion and sincere meaning in the song, you're not going to get that from any American Idol winner. It might sound like it's there, but it's not really there, because they're 19 years old, and, you know, what do they know about love?
Yeah. Good point.
We're coming to the end. Do you believe it?
This is unbelievable. We should do a telethon with you. This
went by quick.
This was amazing.
Sign me up. Sign me up.
I want to thank you once again, Eric, for joining us this evening.
Absolutely. You're welcome. Thank you for
having
me.
If you want to see Eric Herbst and Dizzy Fish, go on Facebook, Google Dizzy Fish.
Yeah, if you type Dizzy Fish into any browser, you'll find me.
Okay.
Can you play us out?
Absolutely. How's some blues?
We want to thank our crew in the back. Thank you to Tommy O and Mr. Tom Brady back there.
Oh.
Thank you. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Wayne.
I got the key to the highway. I'm bound out, I gotta go. I'm gonna hit that street running, baby, 'cause walking's much too slow. I'm going back to talking with Tom, baby, where I'm headed home. 'Cause you ain't done nothing, baby, except drive a good man away from home. Watch out. I got the key to the highway. I'm bound out, I gotta go. I'm gonna hit that street running, baby, 'cause walking's much too slow. Thank you, Connecticut. Hi, Mom.
Great job, Aaron. That was awesome.
Thank you very much.